Sure.
Hey guys, this is Ez. I'd like to apologize for the late episode. This is on me. Not to get too personal, but I had some real life things come up and that I needed to take care of. So really sorry about this late episode, but we wanted to get it out to you as soon as we could. But hey, please enjoy episode 6.
And thanks for
Peace.
sticking with us. Peace.
Hey.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Best in Slot Radio Podcast, a podcast focused on Final Fantasy XIV, its game design and features, as well as how it compares to other games on the market. I am one of your hosts, ETG. With me, as always, is going to be my two boys, Ez and Nox. Say hi, boys.
What's up, homies?
Heyo.
So, this is episode 6, last one before we move into Endwalker. This one is going to be titled Predicting Endwalker. We're going to talk about all the new things we see, as well as kind of make some tinfoil hat theory crafting craziness that comes on. Before we get started, I got to embarrass myself a little bit. So, we talked about it last time on the podcast. I talked about how I had not done the Nier raids. I have done them now. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is I've spent the last 7 months not understanding why I couldn't fucking queue for level 80 dungeons. Every time I clicked on it to see why I didn't make up the parameters, it only says all the dungeons you need and then question mark. I didn't get it. I have Googled multiple times what the fuck is going on. Here's the problem is I like to do things that change your perception on stuff, I guess is the safe for work way to say that. When I went and looked at the dungeons, I looked at the list. There are 2 dungeons with almost identical fucking names. I didn't unlock one of them until Saturday night. It is currently Tuesday. So
wait, was it the twinning?
No, so Ananus or Anem Nessus Anteater, the underwater one, I had that unlocked. I play that a lot. Academia Anteater, I never even knew existed.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, I'm
great
surprised.
dungeon.
I'm surprised you didn't know about that because in the last episode, I was the first one to throw out a tinfoil hat, and I brought up that dungeon.
And I thought you were talking about the underwater one, and you talked about a boss, and I was just like, I don't remember this boss, but I don't want to fuck up the flow of the episode. I'm just going to let this go, see what happens. Turns out I'm an idiot. So, I am fully embarrassed on the fact that I essentially waited an entire expansion to open up a dungeon that came out halfway through it.
Nice.
Okay. Moving on. Sidebar, Nier raids. Awesome. I might actually play
Told you.
So fucking good.
That last fight, though.
Oh, so good. So good. Honestly, the fight before that, the one with the big red girl, I guess it's called.
Yeah.
Great fight.
That
I think
was
the
also
first
a great
one in that one was one of my favorites, but the second one with the different color blocks, super cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Cool design. But I digress. So, we're talking about predicting Endwalkers. Let's go with the not meaty stuff, server stability. Neither of you guys have been around for an expansion drop. I've been around for Shadowbringers and Heaven's Ward. And Heaven's Ward was not terrible, to be brutally honest. There were some queues, but it wasn't like thousands. It was like 200 on Gilgamesh, which is like one of the top rating servers on Aether. This time around is going to be way worse, and they just put out that warning. How bad do you guys think it's going to be?
Because of COVID, they haven't been able to update any of their server tech and make more.
Right.
Well, to that, not to cut you off, but in their post actually that they did state that they were able to, do some upgrades and some stability, reinforcements, but basically in a nutshell, not as much as they wanted and not more worlds and not as much as they actually wanted to do is kind of what I'm trying to say. And, the thing that is good is that they're like openly expressing like, hey, here's the information about the errors and whatnot to be aware of, the queue times. Basically, the thing to note is that that little paragraph about error 2002 or 20002, where it's like when you realize that that's the error you're getting, there's 17,000 or more than 17,000 people ahead of you in queue.
Yeah.
chill out for a minute, do something else, and then give it a shot.
It's gonna be be bad.
Did you see that on the Lodestone? That
yeah.
Okay.
I read the whole article. I saw that they upgraded like their tech,
processing
like
speed.
but it's like it's still like a funnel, right? Like it's gonna be, especially with how popular 14 has gotten over the past year.
Right.
Yeah.
It's gonna be insane.
Well, I think they mentioned it in the article, but this is something they mentioned when that huge influx came in back in July. Is free trials are basically back of the line. Yeah. And I think all of us can understand from a consumer standpoint that makes total sense. So I don't think anyone on the free trial has any right to be upset. That's also not me saying you have to go purchase it. If you don't know about the game yet, don't buy it yet. However, understand that comes with some restrictions, and you should be a little sympathetic towards it.
Yeah, it just means people that are just trying the game out for right now won't be able to really play it much for a week, week and a half.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be longer. I think if it goes well, and if it is a game that people really are enjoying, that hype is gonna steamroll into people who have already played it in the past and now they want to buy it. So we'll see. But I mean, like my wife, I told my wife, I was like, don't plan on logging in for a couple of weeks. She's like, okay, whatever. I'm not paying for it. Like, exactly. So a little bit different. But yeah, I hope that it goes smoothly. But I don't know. My playtimes, I guess is the way to say it, is gonna be like super early in the morning, and then like main time PST, so I'm kind of screwed on my nights.
I don't know about you two, but I am going full on degenerate for launch night. I'm gonna be up 3 a.m. waiting for that server to open.
So I actually am doing the inverse. I am waiting, or I'm going to bed and waking up at my normal time, which is 5:45 a.m. Mountain, and I'm just gonna log on right there instead of go to the gym that day and see what happens. And call it from there, but that'll be the game plan. And then unfortunately after my kid goes down, so 6 to 6:30 at night afterwards, which is like prime time, is when I'm at like 5:45. I'm gonna hit the login button and just hope by that time I'm somewhere in the queue that is respectable, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, so we know 2 out of the 3 beast tribes that are coming. We've got the Arcosodora. I'm gonna stick to Arcosodara, excuse me. And then the Loporits. I don't know what the third one is. I don't know if you guys have seen anything about the third one.
I didn't know there was going to be a third one.
Well, so the reason I say that is because for Shadowbringers and for Stormblood, there has been one beast tribe that does XP, one that does crafting XP, and one that does gathering XP. So I'm wondering if they're going to stick to that theme moving in.
It seems like a good frame. I don't see why they wouldn't.
Well, and especially, it's just rep. You don't need it. It's optional.
I wonder where the third beast tribe would be. Maybe Garlemald?
Yeah, that's what I was curious about. And also, what beast would it be,
I'm not sure.
Not really introing anything new.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much native stuff we really know about with regards to Garlemald. At least I don't.
Yeah, I think they let the media testers in the city with no one around, or people just didn't talk or something like that, which is wild to me. But I don't know. I think the Loporits, I hope I say that right, those are the moon bunnies. I think those are the XP ones.
God, I hope so. Those are my favorite ones.
Yeah. I'd be stoked. I mean, they take 4 to 8 minutes, for 25%, give or take. Keep those in, please. Give me incentive to do this. Because if the rewards are there, why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. I'm interested. Now, one of the things that I am not interested in, and that's not because I don't want it, but I'm pretty nervous about the new lottery system for housing. How long do I have to wait is my question.
I think it's going to be a bit, to be honest, but I'm optimistic that it's going to be a while. But once you wait, it's probably going to be, I don't know, let's say like a month or 2, maybe 3.
Okay.
And then you get your house and you kind of move on from there. It's not for people that's trying to like extort the system or anything like that. It's just like, no, we just want to get a house.
Oh,
Do
you mean for the system to come out, or for you to actually get the property?
Actually get the property. I think it comes out. I think Housing Lottery comes out pretty early.
I feel like it'll be way faster than that, like a week tops.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, I think it'll be like,
sweet.
hey, here's because like people that are already on housing right now, like because I've even like dug into it a bit, they're constantly looking for new places and empty vacancies.
Yeah.
Like if you really want a house, you're going to be there like on the day.
Yeah.
So I don't see any reason to like postpone it longer than that. Like a week is still like, I'm gonna go over on Tuesday and check if there's any places up for sale.
Yeah.
And like, okay, cool, and then put it in your bid and wait a week.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm worried that people who just happen to have a shit ton of money will just throw at multiple locations, and then you're basically fighting against one guy 10 different times, if you will. I mean, I'm making up arbitrary numbers, but that's what I worry about is people who are like, I gotta have Ishgard housing. Here's 50 million gil for a large plot.
I guess kind of like the payoff for that is like he is using all of that money he's accrued, this quote unquote buyer. So like I feel like they've deserved it if they've earned that much cash over time. Like if they've got the dosh, yeah, go ahead, fucking drop it everywhere. It's gonna be really bad at first because as soon as they open it up, there's just gonna be a ton of housing in Ishgard.
I feel like I messed up and I should have shot for a medium plot, and instead I only made enough money to buy a small one. And I think that's where a majority of the market is going to get fucked, because that's the easiest path to entry.
Right?
It's
yeah,
like 5 million gills, really not hard to make. It's more difficult at the end of an expansion, but if anyone uses their brain and their crafters and gatherers at the beginning of this expansion, you can make a couple 100 million gil.
Can confirm. Very smooth brain, 6 million gil.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know how it's gonna go. I have some reservations, but I'm hoping that I didn't shoot myself in the foot by only saving up for a small plot. So we'll see. Thankfully, I don't want it necessarily in Ishgard. It can be, and I'd be stoked. But I feel like I'm trying to take advantage of people who are moving their houses from other places.
I want to teleport to my home and have Night in the Broom play. That's my... I will pay 50 million gil for that.
I like that. Okay, so with housing also comes Island Sanctuary. From a community standpoint, is it being overhyped right now?
I think so, 100%. We have an idea as to like the parameters they've set for us, but we've literally seen nothing with regards to house that bit of housing. Like I was gonna say like video game players in general, especially like past 5-10 years with the like YouTube and everything blowing up, we see online articles about shit and we blow it way out of proportion to where game devs just cannot keep up with what we want.
Right.
So it's like, do I think the Island Sanctuary is going to be dope? Yeah, I think it's going to be dope in the same way that I thought Cyberpunk 2077 was going to be dope.
It is.
You both. I think I told you maybe in the first episode or when we were talking like on Discord. But when I played Cyberpunk, not a glitch, not one.
Yeah.
I'm the 1%.
Right. You got the lucky copy.
And it's not only that, but like because I'd seen nothing about this fucking game, I loved it. I put 150 hours in. It was a great time. And that's how I go into most games, and that's how I'm going into this Island Sanctuary business.
Sure.
I think it's going to be cool. I am not blowing it. Like there are too many people that think it's gonna be like, oh my god, it's finally here, it's individual player housing, and I just don't want those people to be disappointed, like Yoshi P.
I thought about it. I'm worried that people are gonna hold the housing like design process. I'm worried they're gonna hold that standard against Island Sanctuary. Like if you have a small house on there in your island, I highly doubt they're gonna like you'll be able to place shit, but the way you customize houses like an actual house, I hope is not in the island sanctuary so that it doesn't feel like that. I want those two to kind of remain separate, but that's a personal thing.
I would like a level of customization, but I would also want it to be very kind of like you get to the instanced island, and when you open the door, you open the door into the house. Kind of like the little Lalafell house in fuck's it called, Kalusha, I believe it is.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of like that. Like when you're on the island, like the home and everything within the home is a part of like the experience.
Right.
Like no load times.
I gotta say, I'm kind of a little bit on the other side of the fence.
Okay.
I do want it to be a little bit more like personal instance housing. Like,
Sure.
I mean,
I understand
I
the
do get what you
appeal.
mean though about like not like cookie cutter, like same, just literally on an island. But that is kind of part of the allure too. Is that like they kind of seem to spin it like it is part, personal housing.
Right, and that's true. Because apartments are only a segment of what you can do in a real house. What are these going to be similar to that? There's just so much unknown, and they did not really give us a lot at the media tour for us to speculate on.
Here's an interesting theory. Maybe it's like an emphasis on like stables and like the gardening aspect.
I'd be
The
stoked.
aspects you can't do with an apartment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
because that's the thing is that's all I want a house for is the Thabnerian fucking onions. Like I don't know if you guys know
what?
about that.
No.
So the onions are like super necessary for high-end cooking recipes, and the only places you can grow them are in your little garden plot at your house.
what?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh my God.
It's something ridiculous. I mean, I just typed in THAV in my Google search, and Thabnerian onion was the second choice. So
Nice.
It's extremely upsetting. I'll look it up right now.
I mean, something that I think and this is something that I personally am looking forward to with regards to the personal island sanctuary, is that Enix is not Blizzard. They are not going to drop this system moving into the future.
Which is what they did for Mr. Pandaria gardening.
Yeah, like that little town that you essentially, little home you had.
Oh man, I don't even think about that when you think of Mist. Holy shit.
Yeah. Krasarang Wilds.
So like I very much believe this island sanctuary is going to be something they can improve on, and it will improve on moving forward. And it could very well turn into like very much exactly what Nox was saying with regards to how he wants that personal player housing.
Sure.
Well, I wonder if it's like even like a mix of like that, like personal housing of things, but it's also like an instant zone to like go and do personalized gathering, personalized crafting, or even like a little like random mini hunt, Oh,
that'd be cool. Yeah, I like that. I just one thing I really want is in order for this system to sustain and maintain, I don't want them to give us everything up front. I really like that they have at least here's the base gameplay. We'll improve this over time. Great, because then it has staying power.
Yeah.
Because my thought is, okay, I'm going to do my island sanctuary. I'm going to put in this work. My minions are running around. I'm farming. Lottery just hit. I got my house. Fuck this place. And I don't want that to be the case. I don't want to work and do all that hard work on my island, and all of a sudden it's like, got my house in Imperium. What am I doing?
Right.
It's.
But I think it kind of goes like with regards to both ways, like because island sanctuaries are supposed to be almost. It kind of comes off to me in a sense that it is supposed to be that replacement for people that can't get homes.
Right.
It's like, hey, you guys have wanted an instant single player place forever now. Mm-hmm. This is like the framework of that, and we're getting started.
That's fair. And like I said before in one of our episodes, Yoshi P did a good service to the Squeenix team by making sure he said, you guys expect one thing, we have not developed that much.
Exactly.
Chill.
Yeah.
It'll be good. So
very much like, please curb your enthusiasm for now.
Yeah.
We want to deliver a polished thing, but it's going a little hard.
Right. And that's, it's such a sidebar of content that really where they're focusing their manpower, if you will. focusing. Not to say that they're just leaving it, but I mean, like, hey, we've got 30 members on our team. 10 of you guys go handle island. No, 2 of you guys go handle island.
I'm just happy it's on the list, is what it is. You know,
I like
it's getting the dedicated like development time. You know, and
absolutely.
I think most of the player bases, like I don't know about either of you, but like my personal character customization is like 70% of the game for me.
Yeah.
How I look, like what my weapons are, and like what place I get to live in, because that's a thing in Final Fantasy. Like my room that I have in my FC right now, like those are all things I very much give a shit about. So
yeah, I'm real big on Limsa Laminsa. That's where my apartment is. You know, it's like that's where I thematically want to be. I don't do the glamour side of things, but I care about what my character's face looks like. You know, because we see it so much. So
man, can you imagine an apartment complex like added on to the Limsa Laminsa main square?
Dude, I'd be stoked. The mist is like a cool idea, and it's like this for everywhere, so it's not like I'm feeling shafted. But dude, to just have like its own little floating hub would be just thematically, I'd be like, oh my god, this is amazing. This is so great. So
that would be cool.
Okay, so let's talk raids. You know, with the huge influx of World of Warcraft players, one thing that WoW does well is broadcasting and really making an event out of the world first race whenever new raids come out. They have capitalized on it in a multitude of ways, especially with marketing dollars, having multiple teams that are actually competitive. I don't know how they do it over here because there's only 4 bosses, so that's a little different, but that starts on the 4th of January. Let's try to predict the meta. You guys are the tank guys. Who do you see them using for world first progression?
Nox, do you want to go first?
Well, yeah. I guess I'll kind of toss my stab out there for tanks. I think Gunbreaker and Paladin. Specifically Gunbreaker. I mean, nothing really is getting nerfed. You know, if anything, I feel like they're going to come into their own and be more fluid. Making it just more of a more balanced play, not balanced, because they're already just really strong overall. But
good ones are.
Well, yeah, that's true. You gotta know your flow and when to pop your cooldowns. But other than that, Paladin for sure. We all know it's going to be the poster boy. It's going to be more or less the staple. I see it.
I'm personally not happy that. So I saw the new combo, right? The sword combo, you know. Unlimited Blade Works
for Paladin,
tentative title. Yes. I didn't notice that it does not replace the spell spam. So you still do the 1, 2, 3, 4
magic rotation.
Yeah, I fucking hate it. Then you do Confiteor, and then that goes into your new Unlimited Blade Works. I am super disappointed about that, especially considering their big talks on button bloat, and kind of like overall rotation bloating. That you just added on 3 buttons to my spell spam.
Yeah, that's fair.
And it's like you could have very much because Confiteor is a part of the spell casting, you could have just made Unlimited Blade Works a part of the spell rotation.
Sure.
You do instead of having it be a 5-part combo, you make it a 4-part combo, and it's just sword, 3 swords, 100 swords, big sword.
Big sword, yeah.
But instead it's like snowflake, big snowflake, Confiteor, swords, blah 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 blah, and it's like I hate that so much.
Well, definitely from a gameplay style, but does its toolkit lend to being a better tank than one of the other ones?
So my thing, having Warrior's the last one, and it's almost at max now, but playing most of them near a higher level kind of thing, Warrior is still my favorite for the best tank in a way. Just because it's simplicity. I can throw a Warrior at most people and they'll get it like that.
It's a fun tank. It really is.
Its fun is up there with Gunbreaker. It's not as fun, but it's fun for simplicity's sake.
Sure.
Solid rotation. I really like the AoEs, especially the first one is kind of like a skill cone, so that brings some fun into it.
Overpower.
They have the best unkillable. You know, their home gang is amazing.
Yeah.
So like I have not used my immunity in a dungeon as often as I have used home gang. And it's like, oh, I want to pull wall to wall and see if I can stress out this healer a little bit. And I'm able to keep it under control because of how often I can use home gang. Right. I do not feel that way with the other tanks. Dark Knight's immunity is hot garbage. Yeah. Gunbreaker makes the healer piss themselves.
For another 2 more seconds, gentlemen.
Paladin is really good, but it has such a long cooldown that I don't. It feels very much like this is my emergency oh shit button. Whereas home gang is like I am using this as part of my strategy in dungeons.
Yeah, and raids too. I can tell you from experience that a majority of our content that we've done as a group, Warriors home gang is used instead of tank swaps. You know, they're like, we're just going to cheese it with you taking 3 hits instead of switch. But you home gang, so, you know, the second 2 and you'll be fine.
But it's like, I can't speak for healers, but I know DPS, ranged, and melee are all over the place, and like this one is kind of suboptimal for this, but we always want to have one of these around for this thing. It does not feel that way with tanks, like at all. The tanks are very, like, you might have one that's kind of higher DPS than the other one, or one that personal preference is like more fun, like the Gunbreaker. But then, like, the problem with the Gunbreaker is it's super involved. Like, if you've been tanking for a long time, or you're very confident in your skills as like DPS per se, I'd recommend Gunbreaker. But if we're talking about OG tank, then maybe you want Paladin because it has all of these huge defensive capabilities. You know,
plus thematically sword.
Everyone loves the wings. Everyone loves the wings. Dark Knight got a little scuffed with updates, but like it's not bad. We still have the best defensive.
Yeah,
the Blackest Night is amazing.
Yeah, that shield is crazy good.
Yeah, it's like, so everything else in their toolkit is kind of meh, but that makes up for a lot of it.
Yeah.
And Warriors just smash, pound, me no die. That's
I think if I'm looking at it from a raid leader's perspective, and I'm building a team to do world first, I want my tanks to be Gunbreaker and Warrior. Purely because, I know the Warrior is very easy to handle, and therefore they're going to get the most DPS they can. Great. Gunbreaker, you're not going to... If you're doing world first and you have a Gunbreaker tank, that person knows what they're doing, so much so that you're not worried about them losing or missing a part of their rotation, and all of a sudden they're getting chunked on their health. And so you can confidently be like, you're the highest DPS tank, let's go.
Mandy, I cannot wait to let you down.
Yeah, I'm really excited. It's gonna be good. So, okay, so those are the tanks. Those are all of our predictions. I know that I know healers a little bit better than both of you guys, but what do you guys foresee?
Lasers.
A lot of sages.
I do think a sage is going to be in a lot of groups. Obviously not dual, because that just seems pretty bad in my opinion.
Have you guys seen the meme where it's like Homer Simpson at a bar and he's just surrounded by Reaper and Sage icons? It's like 100 of them. It's great.
Funny,
it's like, that's exactly how Endwalker is going to be. Every dungeon queue, that's a Sage and 2 Reapers. Cool.
Okay.
And I'll be a Paladin. So
they're going to be very dominant.
Interesting. Okay.
But how good do you think Sage is going to be as a healer?
Fresh out of the box, okay at best. And the reason I say that, I'm not worried about... We're talking about the world first race. We're not really talking about all the casual players or mid-core, semi-hardcore kind of guys. We're talking about the first of the first. And I think when you think about blind progression and making sure, hey, we have all of our bases covered, the Sage's toolkit will work once a boss is down. But I think while you're starting to get going, I just don't see how you bring that versus the Scholar, because it's shield and shield versus pure and pure. So the Scholar's toolkit, like they've buffed the shields so much that it almost doesn't make sense to bring a Sage fresh out of the box, because you're going to get, people are going to make mistakes. It's blind progression. Having a Scholar who's able to put a 60% shield on you because they buff the fuck out of their shields.
Yeah.
Makes way more sense than a Sage who's going to give you a little bit more damage.
It really feels like people are sleeping on Scholar.
Hardcore. I'm personally not going to play it because our other healer is going to, but me and him had a really good one-on-one where both of us were just like, Scholar's getting trashed so hard for no reason. So I think for World First, you'll see Scholars.
It's the Dark Knight syndrome. Because we got barely any updates, everyone's like, oh my god, it's shit now. It's like,
shit.
I still have the Blackest Night, motherfuckers.
Well, and that's the thing. The updates you did get are great. Because that's what happened to Scholar is, okay, you didn't get any more cool fancy things, but your shield is double its potency. Your sucker is now 1.5 times its potency. You have that speed boost, and then there's more fairy gameplay. It's just people are sleeping on it.
Too many of you motherfuckers are too excited about Dark Knight not having to use the Salted Earth macro anymore.
I mean,
that's great. I'm excited to play it because of that.
Yeah, that's a quality of life change I didn't know I wanted.
Just click the ground, goddammit! It's not hard.
It's not hard, and I completely agree.
No.
I use my mouse over macros anyway, so if I'm pressing it, my mouse is already where it needs to be.
I would definitely say, especially coming from WoW, and I compare them 1-to-1, the Blood Death Knight and the Dark Knight, because I'm an edgelord. But Blood Death Knight in WoW has a thing called Death and Decay, and it's the exact same thing as Salted Earth.
Yeah, literally the same thing.
The reticles and how you place them and everything, I can feel how clunky the Dark Knight's reticle is with Salted Earth. It has never felt that way in WoW, so I can definitely agree with that. Mm-hmm. I just personally thought it was really fucking funny.
No, it is funny. Go ahead.
That was like one of the things my friend was so excited about. It's like, I don't have to fucking use the stupid macro for Salted Earth anymore. It's like, all right.
I do think that the people who don't use that macro, because there are a lot of players who aren't, that inundated in the game.
I am a Sigma male Dark Knight. I don't use no macro.
The imaginary restriction ring where it won't allow you to move your mouse farther than what can actually cast.
I am so happy about it.
Yeah, it's something we didn't know we wanted, but now we realize, oh my god.
Yeah, Nox, have you ever encountered that fucking pain in the ass where it's like, oh, I'm just gonna move my mouse out. Oh no, that's too far. A little bit back. Oh, it's too far.
Yeah.
It's
still too far.
Yeah,
still too far. Oh,
I've
wasted 4 seconds.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah. So I'm pretty pumped on that. I think that's going to be great. Now, as far as the pure healers go, the regen healers, I'm going to tell you guys right now, I don't care how good their healing is, probably not going to see a lot of white mages. They just do not bring what an Astro's kit does, and I think that is going to really affect.
I don't know if it's just how much I've been leveling in dungeons recently, because like I tank main, that's my favorite thing to do because instant Qs.
Of course.
But it's like it always feels like the weakest healer in my party is a white mage. I don't know if they're just not
focused on damage.
It's like I just see it all the time. It's like, stop fucking casting your glare or whatever. I don't care. And heal me.
It's holy spam, and the reason for it is because good healers will only ever use Medica 2, use Benediction, so that I can go an entire pull without ever healing you, and then full heal you in one button.
It's fine when you know what you're doing and you're keeping me alive so that I can pull more so you can damage more things.
Yeah.
But when I'm blowing all of my defensive cooldowns on a 2-pull, like a 2-pack pull,
right,
and you're like not healing me at all while you're holy
glare spamming,
I get irritated. Like,
oh yeah. But I think when you think about group utility, White Mage doesn't have as much. Not to say that they don't have a lot, but they don't have as much as the Astro, and the Astro buffs people with damage buffs. Like, then you tack on the Scholar has the 10% crit. You combo those two together. Like, I don't know what White Mage has in its kit that will make you want to bring that over an Astro, other than we don't know any Astros who are good enough.
I mean, that's the thing. I feel like that's especially from my buddy. He mains a White Mage, and like that's his thing about his whole complaint system about Astrology. It's like, oh, it's just so much harder than Ash. Like, I'd rather be a White Mage. It's like, yeah, but like they're almost always better than you guess.
Well, and like I've got parses where I'm 95 or better in healing, but I did a 10 in DPS, so I'm not a good Astro.
But caveat, not calling out White Mages.
Right, yeah. I'm not saying White Mages are bad. I'm just saying they don't have enough in their kit to truthfully justify, say, we're going to bring one over an Astro who does the equivalent in skill. Because the Astro is going to buff the party with damage buff individual members with damage buff. It doesn't make sense, and that's the unfortunate. And now with the new system of we personally buff ourselves as well, there's really I don't know that White Mage has enough to bring them. This is again strictly talking about world first rating. That could be totally wrong. Someone could be like, yeah, but White Mage outputs more, so we want them, which is not true, but all right, do you?
I mean, it could be in the same bucket as like, and I'm not saying this because I do not play any healer, but it could be in that same thing as like Warrior, where it's like it is a simple toolkit, but it is a strong throughput toolkit.
And that's exactly what White Mage is, especially with damage and healing.
It's just a solid baseline. It's not necessarily the best, but
yeah,
I can see it.
And that's the thing is, if it's comfortable and easy to play, can you excel at it better than something that's not comfortable and easy to play? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think all three of us would recommend, regardless of the job and the role, you play the thing that you're the most comfortable with if you want to be good at the game.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's how I am with the raid team. Is people were like, I can play this. I'm like, if you're not good at it, it doesn't matter. And also you want to play it. People who want to play a specific job will be better, even if it's just marginally, than people who don't want to play that job.
Yeah, I'm not playing all the tanks so that I can have all the options. I'm playing all the tanks because I like all of the tanks.
Exactly. And I feel the same about healers. Jury's out on Sage. I don't know how that's going to go.
Pew, pew! Pew, pew!
I think it'll be good. I'm planning on power leveling that to 80.
You get fucking a gap closer. What do you mean? It's everything.
Hey, so did Sumner. Okay,
Sumner,
so
fucking
let's talk world first DPS. So, what if you were building a group? What would the 4 DPS be that you bring and why?
Well, I'll jump at this one just because I more or less main DPS. I kind of First and foremost, Ninja. You got to get that raid buff going out there. Flat damage.
What's the raid buff for people who don't know?
Oh man, call me out on the skill here.
Not the name. What's it do?
It's a flat 5% damage.
Cool. To the group?
So yeah, for the whole group. It's a 15-second window.
It's just like Astros.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Where from there, basically, you just rotate it in. It's every. I believe it's a minute cooldown. Yes.
Okay.
It's been a little bit since I've been on the ninja.
Okay.
But yeah, from there, I feel it's the most important melee right there. More or less for the bells and whistles and seeing how it was alluded to. Don't really know firsthand, but with the Reaper, I feel it's going to probably be one of the more rewarding, as Yoshi P has said, melee choices. So I'm curious to see how that will pay off, but I think it'll actually be a top pick, to be honest.
Reaper.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then Summoner. Summoners, it looks like it's just gotten more OP. It's just looked like it's just been turned up to 11.
I mean, it is.
Yeah, it just looks bonkers. And then my last choice is kind of a toss-up. This was probably my bias. I would say it's a toss-up between a Machinist or a Red Mage. I personally feel a Red Mage over a Machinist. Machinist is just because, that's kind of like love story, if
Mage.
you will. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Just more versatility at bringing more, well-roundedness to the group overall.
Well, the instant cast res is almost a no-brainer, but then
Oh yeah.
the addition of the AOE damage reduction that they just got is pretty wild in its own right.
I forgot about that, actually. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's why I skew towards that. But
Yeah.
I honestly I get why you say machinists. I've been since our last talk. I've been looking at more videos trying to see machine because I haven't unlocked it. And I want to. It's coming. But man, it is easy to play, moderate to master. But when you master it, you do exceptionally well.
Yeah.
I saw a machinist in my raid who I didn't know if they were going to be any good. She turned out to be pretty fucking good. And it looks really fun. Like it aesthetically looks pleasing, and it looks like something that a lot of people can play.
I mean, I think for my 4, it would be Red Mage, Machinist, Samurai for Big Pumper, and Ninja. Like, if we're going purely by like if these people are playing this class at this job at their peak, these are like what I would want.
Gotcha.
Because Red Mage, like the only time I would swap out one of them would be Red Mage, and that's when we've got the fights down and I want more damage.
Sure.
At that point, like I don't know, free floater. But I'm not big on the DPS side of things.
Sure.
But I don't know. Like I feel like Samurai, they're literally the only thing they do, and the only thing they've ever done since Inception is I do big dip DPS.
Yeah, top
that's
charts.
my thing.
I top charts.
Yeah.
But
Ninja.
that's kind of where one of my early predictions. I do think Reaper is going to overtake that. To be honest with you, I really do.
I mean, I think there was actually one of the interviews with Yoshi P saying like he doesn't see Reaper being another Samurai. He also said like Reaper has a group buff that gives a bonus to damage.
Right.
So do I see Reaper in a similar spot as Samurai? Yeah, for sure. Because like I don't know, I feel like there's such a variety with jobs and also with people that again we think you should play what you're good at, and what you're comfortable with, and that's what you're going to excel at. But like damage, like if I'm just picking like the best people in a job, like this is the ideal setup. It would be Sam for DPS, Machinist for versatility in DPS, Red Mage for progression and utility to the party, especially with instant cast reses and heals.
Okay.
And then Ninja because it's fucking Ninja. Like it's almost a requirement. Sure. Almost. Not as much as it used to be, but still.
Okay.
Well, especially towards that Ninja point, I actually completely forgot about the Reaper getting basically their same buff. I'm curious if they stack or if they're sharing the same cooldown, more or less.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it's like part of my thing was like how many buff DPS do you want in your party versus like a Samurai?
Right.
Like this guy is just going to go hard and do all of the damage.
Right.
And versus a Ninja or a Reaper that make everyone else collectively do more damage.
Yeah, that's a good point. So for me, I'm actually going to change up what I wrote. So I had forgotten about this. Dancer, the way Esprit works now is going to be a little bit more intuitive, I guess is the way. Like there's going to be more fans that you get. So for my 4, I pick the Samurai because the dance partner that you select, when they properly do their shit, they buff you. So you have a Samurai and a Dancer. Dancer's obviously going to dance partner that Samurai. I go with the Red Mage as well for multiple reasons. One, its damage is pretty okay. Its utility as a group is really good. And then that damage buff you guys are talking about with Ninja, they also kind of have. I think it's called Embattlement. And it is the only difference is you guys get the entirety of the 5% right away for the entire duration for 15. With Red Mage, you start at, I think it's 5%, and then it goes down to 4% after a couple of seconds, 3, 2, and 1. So
Okay.
Yours is better. However, with the red mage, you get all that other additional utility. So that's where I would replace that ninja role with the red mage. And then, based on what I saw, it's kind of a toss up between Summoner and Reaper. And I sway Reaper because they're going to be easier to maintain the rotation while moving versus the Summoner. So for world first prog, I would probably pick 2 utility range DPS and then 2 badass melees in the form of Reaper and Samurai, and just try to pump. I mean, the whole point of this is to build the Samurai up to be your, like, you're the Greek god of this group. Kill everything, you know. But I mean, if your group's okay with it and your Samurai performs, and we're talking about world first raiders, that's a good strategy. They have shown that they are the best.
Don't look at that LB3 button. That's my button. That's my button.
I mean, even though it doesn't count for your
it's my button.
And honestly, if a Samurai and a Reaper in group, you might have the Reaper do it, not because of the aesthetics. It is better. But
how dare you?
I think it's because you don't want to interrupt the Samurai's rotation and have them continue to do that. Whereas with the Reaper, they take 2 or 3 seconds. Probably not going to be as big of a deal as if.
Damn it! I hate how right you are, but I'd still disagree.
But those things. It's those small things. World first.
Yeah.
Because I've never been world first, but I've been top 100 in the world, and it's a different ball game up there. You're trying to inch everything out. So I'm really excited to honestly watch it because it's never been publicized the way that it's going to be this time around.
Yeah,
so.
Especially with like world first racers coming over from WoW to play in 14.
They got nothing else going on over there. I mean, fuck, dude. I don't want to get too far down the road, but they're
some people might not be looking forward to, the world first race being that week of Christmas and whatnot, but I'm just like, shit, it's gonna be great. Work's gonna be super slow. Just toss up that stream all week and enjoy the ride.
So, all right, let's get to the meat. MSQ theories. I broke it down into sections. So let's start with Old Charlian.
Oh, this.
Give me your craziest tinfoil hat. What are they doing?
Oh man. What are they doing?
Man, I already talked about like Alphanos dad and like all this other shit. Like, I threw my tinfoil out last time. I very much like La Habrea lab on the moon. We're dealing with void shit. Like the fucking pandemonium is all of their world-ending tests that they've been performing up there, and I'm hyped for it. Yeah. I still don't think Alphino's dad is like a mega dick. I think there's a reason he disowned them.
Sure.
We'll
see.
I'm interested to see what reason that is.
Right.
But he does not I don't see like the grandfather being as altruistic as he was and the kids being as altruistic as they are, and it like skipped a generation.
Right.
He might be a stuck-up asshole, but I feel like he's got a reason for it. I feel like, I mean, it's Charlian. They've got a read on something, and that lends into my whole we're fighting the void moving forward thing. It's like, you guys are still worried about these fucking dickheads with masks. No, we're on that new shit.
Let's worry about these guys.
They're the problem.
What do you think?
I kind of think, it's like, how does the saying go? When you look into the abyss stares back. Like, yeah, it does kind of lean towards they just know something more that they're trying to, not warn, but just cover up. Some, I don't know, Lovecraftian, if you will, where it's just like, no, we know what's in the box, but we're not going to tell you, but just don't open it, all right?
I mean, I think something really important to point out, in the libraries of the new Charlian libraries, part of the level 60 dungeon content.
Yeah.
Like the Great Google, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
There are a lot of void things in there, and it's like a constant. Man, I'm telling you, I predicted Shadowlands 2 years before it came out. I love my fucking. I got the red string and all of the corkboard.
You're the Always Sunny meme.
Yes, very much. I love that shit. I love predicting things.
That's good.
But it feels like one of the predominating things in 14 over any other element, we see things from the void being an issue, like the Crystal Tower, the
Void
everything
Arc.
to do with Charlian, the Void Arc. It is constantly another thing outside of the Ascians that is a problem.
Yeah. Okay. So all of mine kind of encompass into one, so we'll move on and I'll do mine in a sec.
One thing I do want to point out about Old Charlene before we move on from it, I'm really excited to see like the structures. I'm a sucker for high fantasy structures and like the Crystarium. If that was like any foreshadowing, man. Oh god.
Is there a jump puzzle in Old Charlie? And yes or no?
Yes, there better be, and it better be the big man.
It better. Oh, that would be nice.
Okay.
I hope.
Rod's at Han. So off in Thavnair, we finally get to see it. We know the Arcasadara are going to be the new beast tribes. As far as MSQ goes, the only thing I know about Thavnair is that's where dancers are from.
Yeah.
What are we doing there and why?
I mean, well, Razat Han has always been like an important place of power. Yeah, that like super important. So that could be a thing.
Okay.
Trying to figure out more of it, because part of me feels like the first place we're going to is Thavnair and Razat Han. Okay. Instead of like going to Old Charlian right off the bat, but I'm not sure. It could be that we go to Old Charlian and then immediately go to Thavnair. Okay. Kind of like Crystarium style, you know what I mean? Like,
pick one.
Yeah, like Old Charlayan is just, it's going to be like the hub, and it's just going to like it's just going to be like a Crystarium thing, and we're not actually, because looking at Old Charlayan, it doesn't look like there's a ton around it necessarily.
Right.
So I'm wondering if it's just going to be mostly us hanging out in the city for the most part.
Gotcha. Okay.
But as for like Thavnair in general, like I feel like that's going to be, looking at the announcement trailers and all of the openings we've seen, I feel like that's going to be where shit hits the fan.
Okay.
That's like you saw all of those void whatevers flying over the sky, the forest on fire, the dancer statue crashing to the ground.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going there to confront Xenos or something for some reason, and that's where all hell is going to break loose.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think that's similar to what I was thinking. I think things are going to start popping off over there, and it's more so going to kind of jump into Garlemald from there. Basically, kind of like we're taking the fight to them, and then
Interesting. I equate Old Charlie and Rods as the decision you made at the beginning of Shadowbringers to start in either Yormor or Kalusia or where the fuck is Alcé? Amarang. So I think that's how they're going to start us with those two. Is we have conflicts in both. You get to choose which one you want to go to. No matter what you're going to do, which one you didn't choose next. So don't fucking worry about which one you pick.
Right.
So I foresee Razat Han being the Yulmore of this expansion, where it's the trade hub, so it's got all of our token gear, everything out of the raids where you turn in your tombstones, and I see, like you said, the Crystarium version of Old Charlian being that like big hub that people are going to hang out at. So, and I also think that it's going to pop off, but I actually think that comes later in the story after we visited Garlemald. I think we visit Garlemald and they decide they want to start an invasion, and the only way to get eyes open, if you will, is to attack a major trade hub that's supposed to be neutral. That's my tinfoil. Garlean are just getting wild, and they've summoned all these primals, and they're basically out for world domination, and I think Old Charlian has been sheltered.
Nah, man, I think Garlemald is fucking done. Like, they're broken. Xenos
could be. Xenos broke it. Yeah, absolutely. killing King Varys. I get it. It'll be interesting, but that doesn't bring us to the biggest moment that we're focused on, which is the moon. with the Moon Bunnies. I said it in the last episode. I think it's 30% of the MSQ. I mean, you already said La Habrea. What else is up there? What else do we see?
I think we're going to find anything and everything left with regards to the Asians and like who is Azim or Azim, however you want to pronounce it. Like who is that to us? Are we like we're obviously a part of him. Like we're 2/3 now. We've reabsorbed most of our bits, but like, who is that with regards to us? Who was he, you know, or who were they? And like, also, like, I loved that mask scene we got to see in the preview trailer.
Yes.
God, I want to see him at Silk again. God, I want to see him again.
What a great villain. There was I'll shout out a creator. There's a creator, Best in Slot. That's us.
That's us.
Work to game. They post.
Yeah.
Some videos are good. Some videos are informational, and some are controller guides, which is what they're known for. But they posted one which is, hey, this is everything Shadowbringers had from a lore standpoint. And Emmett Selk, the way he described it, I was like, that's a perfect way to describe what we got from Emmett Selk. And I want to see him again. Yeah, I truthfully hope we see him again, even if it's in a villainous capacity. I'm stoked.
What really just blows my mind is this entire time we have been trying to stave off the Asian threat, and it feels like in coming full circle in Endwalker, we are now carrying on their legacy in a weird way.
Well, and that's because another creator, Larry Zor, posted a video about why we're carrying on the Asian legacy, and that is because Taru is
Don't
evil.
you dare. Don't you dare. Don't you dare.
He had it's like a 6-minute video.
I watched it.
It'll be in the description down below. The artwork lineup where he's like, look at this picture right here. Heidelin's at the top. Zodiark's at the bottom. Interesting. Look at this picture. The Lady of the Light. And who's at the bottom? Like, he's got the big eyes. Genuinely. Like, it's hysterical to me. And I think the comments are great because in one of the comments was like, the fact that Square Enix sponsored this video has me terrified. Absolutely terrified.
At this point, if it's true, if she turns out to be fucking Zodiark, I'm going to be angry. It's only going to be anger. It's like, what the fuck do you mean she's Zodiark?
That video was so well done for what it was, and honestly, I wish nothing more for that to be right, just so I can be like, Larry, you did it.
Like, the more quote-unquote serious people about Tataru being like a Zodiark thing is like, and it's like, has nothing to do with the shit she's done. It's entirely leaning into this fact of like, oh, it could just be this thing to show you that Zodiark isn't as evil as we've always made him out to be.
Totally.
And like, it's really just like with anything else. Like, I think, honestly, the theme of Shadowbringers as a whole was so cool in bringing forth this idea, just like the Dark Knight questline, that it's not necessarily that darkness itself is inherently evil. We just peg it that way.
Right.
Because on that world, it's the inverse. Light is evil, and dark is good.
And dark is good. Right, exactly.
So
well, if anything, it was actually just meant to emphasize, I see that as like forces of nature, really. We see light and darkness as good and evil, but in reality, it's just like wind and earth.
We're very much Heidelin and Zodiark.
Exactly. It's literally just like another element, though. You know, every other one has to balance each other out for that harmony of, like, you know, optimal living plane or shard, right?
Yeah.
So,
and speaking of elements, Yoshi P did say in his interview that platinum is a
platinum.
Thing. So
it's not about
going
being
off on that for a bit. Platinum just blowing her mind.
Like the whole, it's not about you being the white guy, like the white knight. You're platinum. Very anti. Like no. It's not. You're not like the white knight. You are a platinum kind of thing.
Yeah, interesting.
And I just, and I think something people, because it was just introduced in Shadowbringers, people keep forgetting about. Heidelin and Zodiark are mostly just, they were summoned as like differing points of opinions.
Right.
Like, we want to save our people and bring them back versus no, these people are dead and it needs to just move on.
Yeah.
And I could be wrong, because I'm unclear and unsure on this bit, but I thought that Azim, like him in the seat of Azim, did not support either of them. He left because he refused to summon Zodiark.
Yeah.
And then he heard about the other group summoning Hydaelyn is like in opposition to them. Yeah. And he's like, no, you're doing the same shit, but on the other side.
Just on the other side of the spectrum.
You're also sacrificing your people.
Yeah. Very interesting. And especially with what we saw at the end of the MSQ, with all the towers having sacrificed people to summon their lunar primals. What
if the reason we can't be taken over by any of the primals is because our past self refused to summon them?
That'd be pretty tight.
Oh, dude.
But I already told you why we can't. It's because we're the catalyst for Hydaelyn, and Xenos is the catalyst for Zodiark.
Yeah, that's probably going to be what it is, but I want it to be like, personally, I want it to be outside of Hydaelyn.
Sure.
I want it to be because of our own character and not because of something she did to us.
She did, yeah. Well, and also, as I continue to say that theory of us being catalysts, it almost feels too easy. It feels like, yeah, that's the logical conclusion, so of course that's going to happen. But that is not what Square Enix does.
No. They're going to pull a bamboozle.
Yeah. You've just been bamboozled.
What if Xenos eats both of them?
That'd be tight. That'd be pretty. He's chaotic evil. I mean, it'd be great. Speaking of Xenos, to kind of wrap up the episode, I'm actually going to switch the last two questions. Does Fandaniel die before or after Xenos?
Before.
Does he die?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think he does too. I think
I'd better kill that little shit.
No,
it's a character we've been meant to hate because that's a. So I just realized this because I brain fart. That's Asahi's old body, right?
Yeah.
I fucking hated that character too. So
I feel like people come up with arguments as to not killing Xenos. Part of it is because he's got that whole DILF energy going on, you know.
Big time.
But no one feels that way. Female
character, which is
no one feels that way about Fandaniel. No. Not a one.
I don't think I've talked to anybody who's been like, great character, we should leave him around. No, absolutely not. Okay, so Nox, you think before, Ez, you think before?
Man, I don't think he's going to die till we get to the moon. And genuinely, part of me wonders if Xenos is going to be like a whole rabbit hat trick. Like, what if he is not the end-all, be-all that we're making him out to be?
Sure.
I'm just going to say it. I think Xenos is the one who marks him.
Yeah. Oh, God, I hope so. I hope so.
In regards to your comment about La Habrea shit on the moon, I think we see some other Ascian we haven't seen in a while, but we didn't get rid of per se. And they were double-crossing Fandaniel with Xenos. And I think you're right. I think Xenos kills Fandaniel. I don't think we get to, which is almost good enough to piss us all off. Because we didn't get to strike the blade.
We want to kill
yeah, because that's a Square Enix thing where you're just like, I know you guys want it. Sorry. Fuck you. All right, give me my shit.
No, in Xenos' mind, it's like, no. I do not want you to stain your hands with this pathetic thing's blood. This is sir. Not my warrior of light.
Right. We'll see how that goes. So because they worded it so specifically, the Hydaelyn and Zodiark storyline comes to an end at 6.0. Do we kill Xenos?
I genuinely feel like the only way Xenos is going to live, and I do feel like there's a part of me that thinks he's going to live, but it's going to be in relation to the Warrior of Light choosing not to kill Xenos. Kind of like, imagine like a Joker, Batman, Dark Knight moment where Joker's just saying, kill me, hit me, come on, do it over and over.
We're stuck in this loop.
Yeah. And Xenos is just like begging to be like, do it. Just fucking do it.
Yeah.
Give me what I want. And we're just like, no.
Interesting.
And we just like let him go.
Knox, what do you think?
I guess I might be the crazy one here, but I think there's somehow going to be a redemption arc of some sort. I I feel that like overall there's been like a sort of love-hate type of growing to Xenos, especially now then also seeing Gaius transition, like the player base right there. So thinking of that, but I don't know. I kind of see it as like my gut says there's like more innate corruption that Heidelin and Zodiark do to their quote unquote chosen vessels. Like basically, I think that Xenos is not completely Xenos because, well, he's got more influence from Zodiark than any of the other ones.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So this is why I waited for my tinfoil hat. Because this is pretty out there. We fight Xenos. We decide not to kill him. Because they've been talking about how everyone has been tempered and it can be healed. I truthfully think that Xenos has been tempered by Zodiark. He summons Zodiark. We somehow break the tempering in Xenos. But I think one of the Scions, I don't know who, but I think one of the Scions says no to the redemption arc and tries or succeeds and kills Xenos instead of us.
Yo, you guys want like a full-on out there,
far down there,
fucking like weird ass theory? Like
this is doing it.
That's pretty far.
I say tinfoil hat, but I'm talking full-on tinfoil suit at this point. It isn't Zodiark that fucking tempered Xenos. It was Heidelin.
Ooh.
The entire time, and so Zodiark's basically been trying to like get us out of her grip.
Yeah.
Oh,
that'd be so
like not even
so
like
that
not
would
even
be
like
so Enix though. That would be so Square Enix to be like, no, this bad guy that you really thought he's been trying to like get you out of this grip. Like what?
Yeah.
I don't even know if like Zodiark could be put in that good guy box, but just in the idea of like maybe Heidelin is trying to force our hand, or like has been waiting for somebody good enough to force things to an end, because Heidelin was made to like oppose and kill Zodiark,
right?
And she couldn't finish the job, and then she broke the world into 14 fractures and blah blah blah.
Pretty selfish bitch.
But it's like, I don't know. I genuinely the one thing that I can say for sure that I'm positive about is it's not as simple as good versus evil with Zodiark and Heidelin. There's going to be some kind of huge twist that we're going to get pretty quickly, and I feel like that has something to do with Charlene stuff.
Well, and not 10 minutes ago, you guys literally just talked about how our perception is light is good, dark is evil, and then it flipped on its head in Shadowbringers. Like, what's not to say that that's not the case with the two?
It feels like part of the reason they gave us Shadowbringers was just to introduce that concept.
Right. Just enough of a taste so that it's there in your head, and then all of a sudden you have to think a different way because they decided to continue with that. Like with the two main fuckers.
Yeah, as somebody with like a huge interest in like writing and doing stuff like that in the past, that's exactly what you do in a novel. You have to introduce the concept subtly enough to the reader to open their mind up to more possibilities.
Right.
And then you fucking hit them with that plot twist like, oh no, it was this all along.
As it turns out.
But it doesn't feel like bullshit where it's like they pulled it out of their ass at the last minute, like, oh, you didn't see this coming? And it's like, yeah, no, because you just made that shit up on the spot.
Yeah, like, it's kind of like they kind of make you feel like you figured out the puzzle all along, but in reality, they just gave you it piece by piece.
Yeah. It's like you are putting together this huge 10,000 piece puzzle, but there's like pieces that aren't quite fitting, and there are some like off to the side, and then it's like you see the scene and everything just like, and it blows your fucking mind.
You get in that zone, and all of a sudden you've done that portion and that portion.
Because like Nox said, it's like you're 6/10 of the way there, but it's not. And it's that last bit that I'm so hyped for.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think we're all very hyped. I think this 2-week wait has only built up that anticipation, and it's going to make us excited. So let's talk about the future then. We are not going to be recording this upcoming week for any of our listeners out there. We want to give you guys enough time to play through the story. However, when we come back, so that'll be on not the 3rd, 5th, 12th. So we'll record on the 12th. Episode will come out on the 13th. That'll have given you almost essentially 1 full week of gameplay. There will be spoilers. We'll put that at the beginning of the video. We'll say it out loud so that you guys know not to. I'll put it in the description. Spoilers, 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 because we're going to talk about the MSQ. I don't know about you guys. I know, as you said, you were going to sweaty it.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Max, are you going to get through it in a week?
I'm going to definitely try. That's for sure.
Yeah, I feel like I can get through it. Even if I only play 3 or 4 days, I can get through it just with focus. Depends on how the sage leveling goes. But that episode will have spoilers. We will preview that ahead of time so that we don't ruin anything for anybody else.
Bring your tissues, homies, because it's going to be waterworks.
And we're going to talk about the whole thing. We're going to get into it and the ending and everything. So come prepared, I guess is the best way to say it. But that about wraps up this episode. Wherever you get your podcast, we are on pretty much every platform except for, I think, Pandora Amp, because that service sucks. I'm just going to say it right now. I've tried to sign our podcast up 4 different fucking times, and I'm over it. So if you get your podcast on Pandora, change. You're the idiot, all right? I'm sorry. I can't do it anymore.
Go over to Spotify, you jackass.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't mean to shit on you if you like Pandora. It sucks.
I do.
Anyways, yeah, I like the music. I do not like how the podcast is set up, especially from a creator's standpoint. But wherever you get your podcast, if you're watching this on YouTube, do the things like, dislike because you can't see the count anymore. Subscribe to the channel if you want to support us for free. Eventually, we'll get to the point where we can start making some additional content for our subscribers that isn't necessarily 14 related, and that way you guys have even more incentive to come join us. As always, I'm going to be DTG. This has been Best in Slot Radio.
I'm Ez.
And I'm Knox.
We'll see you in the next one, folks. Take care and enjoy Endwalker.